Okay, this section's on isosceles and equilateral triangles. Okay. First, if you go back, isosceles triangles. When you look at an isosceles triangle, in an isosceles triangle, the two sides are congruent and the two base angles are congruent. Okay, that's what an isosceles triangle looks like. Two sides are congruent, two base angles are congruent. So if I gave you, as an example, if I gave you this angle up here, how could you find these two? Subtract from 180 and then divide by 2, and you'd have the two base angles, each base angle. Okay, an equilateral triangle, all three, remember equa means equal, lateral means sides. If all three sides are congruent, all three angles are congruent. So what would all three angles have to be on an equilateral? 60. Okay. And that's an equilateral. Equilateral means all three sides are congruent. And if all three sides are congruent, it's also equiangular. So each angle is 60. Okay, now there's a couple of postulates and theorems in here. Theorem 4.10, 4.10. It's called the isosceles. Make sure you spell it right. It's the isosceles, and just use the symbol for triangle. It's the isosceles triangle theorem. And it says if two sides of a triangle are congruent, just use the symbol for congruent, then the angles opposite those sides, and that's basically what we said in the triangle picture up above. Then the angles opposite those sides are congruent. Okay, and that is the isosceles triangle theorem. Okay, theorem 411 is the converse. The converse of the isosceles triangle theorem. And it just basically says if you've got the angles congruent, then the sides. So if two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the sides opposite those angles are congruent. Okay. And that's the converse of the isosceles triangle. Okay. Then there's two corollaries. Okay. Corollary 4.3 says a triangle is equilateral if and only if it is equiangular. So if all the angles are equal, then all the sides are equal. Okay? And then corollary 4.4, each angle, and we basically already said this in the picture up above, each angle of an equilateral triangle measures 60 degrees. Okay, measure 60 degrees. Okay.